Does NOAA have an official position on climate change?
Oh yeah, and it matches what the National Climate Assessment says. And the National Climate Assessment, very quickly, is something that Congress mandated that we do every 4 or 5 years. And so, since about 1990, maybe a little after that, we've put out reports, we being all the federal agencies, academics, and private industry have worked together to put these out. We're in the midst of one now. And that is sort of accumulated information on how our climate has changed and is changing, and looking to future impacts as well as current impacts of what's going on. One of the things we see is that the number of record high temperatures that we're hitting far outpaces record low temperatures. There's a definite trend. There's lots of proxy, if you call it proxy data, that really tells us these things. Glaciers melting, in certain areas a lot, and actually fading away over time. Oceans warming, acidity levels in the ocean increasing, sea level rise, things like that.
People in the Midwest probably sort of look at that and go, well, that's not my problem. But flooding events are. Right. And so that manifestation, while maybe not as inexorable or clear, is certainly considerable, right?
Well, let's take Katrina, for example, in 2005. It was pretty devastating to New Orleans. And what was it, a few years after that? Harvey in Houston. I happen to know people that have moved from a coastal area to this area for lots of reasons, right? But part of it was they were displaced by sea level rise combined with a major storm like a hurricane or something like that, and they didn't have a place to live. So there is what we call climate migration, and that's going on around the world as well. Places getting too wet, too dry, too hot. That's happening around the world. It's a semi-political issue too, obviously, but that's a manifestation of climate change, for sure.
Because of your position in NOAA, are there restrictions on what you can say, or are you free to, as long as you make your opinions clear that they're personal?
Right.
How does that work?
Yeah, so when it comes to climate change, we have a position. I've already told you what that was, and it's happening, and we need to do something about it. But my job is more to inform adaptation and resilience methodology. In other words, saying, well, it's going to be 10 degrees warmer in 100 years. So what are you going to do about it? Or what can we do about it? Because it's already built in. The mitigation thing, we need to get to mitigation. Mitigation meaning we need to get all this carbon dioxide out of the air, okay, one way or the other. But we've built in 100 to 1,000 years of warming already. So even if we had zero man-made, if you will, gases, we're still going to see rising temperatures for a while. That's built in because the oceans are like a bank, if you will. What we're talking about now, more than mitigation, is adaptation. So what are we going to do about it? Are we going to build bigger air conditioners, or what? Do we need to build more places for people to go to stay out of the heat in the summer? I think we're already seeing that in some parts of the country. Gosh, Texas and Oklahoma this year are baking. When we have these record high temperatures, we've always had record highs sometimes during the year. When you experience those now, they're probably getting a taste of what your kids and grandkids are going to be feeling much more often than we are right now. Okay, so that's one way to think about personal impact. It's not all about us. It's about us and future generations too.